Hi, and welcome to my masterclass, Peaceful Soul, Banging Body. We're going to begin in about 1 minute. I'm going to let others join. So I'm just going to pop off the screen for a moment.
But it's bullet gray. Sometimes you will, sometimes you feel, sometimes you can rather steal. Call you a cinnamon, call it second sight. Now they treat them all the same. It's the thinnest line to hang you by. Holding my hands, I'm saying, you know I only ever took what's mine. I wanted to tell them that if I could have led a different life, could have led a different life. But now I need somebody who could ease my mind, need somebody who could ease my mind. You know I need the remedy to cure my vice, need the value to sleep at night.
Hi, I'm back. Thank you so much for joining me today. Welcome to this Peaceful Soul, Banging Body Masterclass. I am Vicky Snow. I'm a yoga and a fitness and motivation coach. I'm wondering what it was that drew you to me today. Perhaps it was the peaceful soul aspect, or perhaps it's a banging body that you're after. They're both really important, aren't they? We all want to look good, but we could all do with a bit of serenity in our lives too. So my guess is that up to this point, you've been focusing on the body. My question to you now is, have you ever achieved the body that you want long term? By this, I mean without having to work at it through diet and exercise every single day. My guess is no, because you probably wouldn't be here if you had. And this is where the peaceful soul aspect really comes into its own. So I'm just going to pop off the screen again and we can begin. So who is this for? Well, you could be one or all of these. You could be a serial dieter. Okay, perhaps you feel like you're always on a diet or planning to go on one. Perhaps you panic diet a lot when you have something to slim down for. Or you may have reached a point where you're just sick of diets. You also may be a binge eater or a panic exerciser. The three of them tend to sort of work together. You may have been doing it for years, and sometimes you're winning and on top of the world, but very often you're struggling and you feel extremely low. Have you ever considered that you don't have to do this? Maybe you have, and that's why you're here. You know there's another way. Or maybe you're hoping this will be the next thing that's going to help you slim down for good and put a stop to the misery and anxiety and struggle, because that's what it is, isn't it? Whatever way you look at it, it's a roller coaster. Let me tell you, there is another way. So just wanted to promise you two things today. Firstly, I'm not selling you anything today. This is just useful content. I'm going to tell you how to get off the roller coaster and transform yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. I will show you how to achieve the banging body that you want, whatever that looks like to you, but this is a different approach. I hate saying that because I sound like every other diet and fitness coach out there, but bear with me, this really is different. We will be working from the inside out. We will be focusing on energy, a feeling, not a look. So look at this girl in the picture. Anyone that knows me knows that this is my go-to shot, my feel-good shot. I have no idea who she is. I found it on Instagram ages ago, but I want some of what she's having. It's that, yes, that air punch, jump in the air moment on a beach in a bikini, looking amazeballs. It reminds me of the time, actually, that I saw Flashdance, the movie, for the first time as a child in the 80s. And Irene Carr is dancing to What a Feeling. If you remember it, you remember it. If you don't, this picture really says it too. I want to feel like that. And this is what this masterclass is about. So why stick around? You are going to learn a new way that is different, more enjoyable, more motivational, than anything you have learnt before in relation to diet and exercise. If you are the woman that I described on that first slide, the panic dieter, the binge eater, the panic exerciser, this is completely tailored for you. That was me, you see, but no more. And I'm going to share all I know with you. I will also give you a free gift if you stay to the end, a free yoga class and a guided meditation to get you in the right mindset to start this amazing process. Mindset is so important. You can't get this class anywhere else. You will also be offered the chance to book a Zoom call with me for 30 minutes of free coaching. More about that at the end, because not everyone will fit the criteria. So who am I? What a good question. I am Vicky Snow. As I said earlier, I'm a yoga teacher and a wellness expert. I'm also a fitness motivation coach. What I am good at and love to teach is helping people make connections between the physical, the mental, and the emotional, working with all three and creating powerful shifts. So yoga became my super healthy obsession 20 years ago. I was big into exercise, especially running. I was smashing it, but I loved anything challenging, really. I first started doing yoga because someone told me it would give me long toned legs and limbs. I hadn't realized how dynamic and sweaty and strong yoga could be. I loved it as an exercise, and I started a dedicated practice. It was really powerful and it gave me tons of strength, especially upper body, which I was really lacking. People kept noticing my arms. Yes, these arms here, that's me in the picture, because they got so toned. But also I had better flexibility, really good balance and posture. I always felt limber when other runners around me suffered with stiff joints. I never got injured. It took me about a year of regular practice for me to really start to notice and appreciate the other benefits of yoga. I never had resistance to yoga. There was no inward groans like you get with some exercise. I always skipped happily to class. I loved the feeling it gave me. Yes, that feeling. I felt an outpouring of positive emotions after class, always completely different from when I walked in. I felt like her in the picture at the beginning, jumping around on the beach, feeling amazing. So I'm 46 now and I still get that feeling. Yoga is a serious mood improver. Many notice changes after a single class, and that's why I love yoga. Its healing powers are so potent. I absolutely love it when people come to me after a class saying they are in tears at the end. You really do start to feel an exciting new energy almost instantly. Lasting change, the mental and emotional, happens over time, but the physical happens much more quickly. And I love working people on getting them to their peak on this self-discovery journey. So I'm also a businesswoman. Pre-pandemic, my company Yoga Moves did a lot of events, retreats, and also weekly classes. Prior to branching into wellness, I owned a successful PR company in London's West End. I had about 20 staff. Our clients were high street brands, high-end designers, cosmetic brands, and celebrities. This was an extremely stressful time in my life. Around age 30, my love affair with exercise went off the scale and became an unhealthy obsession. I put everything into my business to the detriment of everything else, including my health. I guess I was surrounded by perfect-looking people, and the alarming consequence for me was when work got crazy, I put more pressure on myself to be perfect. I was so strict with myself. My inner mean girl was so harsh, and I actually put my body through hell, counting calories and exercising like a madwoman, all times of day and night. It was exhausting, to be honest, and looking back, it makes me very sad that I went through this. I knew I had a problem, and I eventually sought professional help. But throughout, yoga helped me immensely, dealing with stress and the emotional numbness I felt from being so work-focused. The hardest thing for me was changing the mindset that exercise had to be punishing to be effective, and that I didn't have to starve myself. Yoga brought me back down to earth and restored me, and I came to rely on it for that. Now I aim to show women that you can nurture your body and still have the physique you want. I'm also a mum.
A mum to Elizabeth and Joe, and we recently moved to the Algarve in Portugal.
And that's Chris, who needs a lot more yoga in his life, and I'm working on that. Okay, we've got about 30 minutes left. You're going to learn a lot in the next 30 minutes. Firstly, you're going to learn why it's been such a struggle and a battle all this time for you. You don't need this. What about flow, calm, balance, and ease? Yeah. Can your life flow in this way? Let's get off that roller coaster. You're going to learn how to get your life back and stop obsessing about diet and exercise. You're going to make peace with your body. You're going to learn how to connect with something deep within yourself that feels like a huge hug or a long lost friend who's there for you unconditionally. I'm going to teach you how to be the very best version of yourself you can be and find a way that's right for you so you can achieve a fit, strong, banging body with a healthy, manageable mindset in a way that fits into your life rather than the other way around. So, do any of these statements sound like you? Failing. Oh, I hate that word. It's not you and it's not me. When you're struggling and putting on weight, you feel extremely low. Self-loathing creeps in and the inner mean girl starts her horrible attack. You may also feel panicked and stressed and under pressure, and you can't seem to keep all the plates spinning and stay slim. You know you're in a danger zone, and when you fail at dieting, you really fail. You might as well just eat the contents of the fridge and start again tomorrow. Then you might decide to ping back and decide to stay in all weekend and detox so you slim right back down again. It's that roller coaster effect. Flying. When you're winning and losing weight, you feel $1 million and you can't stop looking in the mirror at your slimmed down waistline and you're trying all the clothes that haven't fit you for ages. You feel great. And if you're in flying mode, you don't tend to relax much either because you're flying. You'll be out and about having fun, cleaning the house, organizing stuff, at the gym, generally looking good. Not fair. You just want to eat like a normal person, like a naturally thin person, and not have to diet all the time. How much time have you wasted learning about food and diets, a whole new way of eating, buying all the right food, preparing them, and just literally thinking about it all the time and about the you that you want to be? It's all consuming and draining, physically, emotionally, and financially. What happened? Often you feel sad and nostalgic about the past when you think back to the perceived best you. I say perceived because it's always better when we look back, isn't it? You're striving for it, but your heart isn't in it like it used to be. You may not realize it yet, or perhaps you do, but looking good and toned and honed, etc., doesn't motivate you like it used to. You can't seem to keep it up anymore, and you have less time as well. I wouldn't have admitted this in my 20s, but back then I was definitely motivated by wanting to look good for the opposite sex. And now I don't have that motivation because I've got kids and a partner. There's the occasional wedding or event or holiday to motivate you, isn't there? And that keeps you in the gym for a bit, but you feel like you need more than physical goals to focus on the body. I'm going to go into this because focusing on the external is just not a good motivator long term. In fact, I've discovered this myself. Gym fatigue. You can't seem to get excited about the workouts you used to love. Or maybe you're scared to drop this routine that you've got because you worry about letting yourself go. But also you feel concerned about all the hours you spend panic exercising. It seems out of balance or proportion with your life. I remember the point it hit me. I was in the gym and I was doing a cardio class and I'd been doing it for years actually. And something just clicked. I was looking in the window, I saw my reflection and I looked miserable. And it was at that moment I decided I'm never going to do exercise again that I don't enjoy. Haven't got time. I've got better things to do. Exhausted. You're constantly on the go. There's always the next thing and the next thing and the next thing that you have to do. That to-do list. It's never ending. That endless to-do list leads to checking out, to relax. Food is usually involved. You've got Netflix on the go and you lose count of the number of times that you refill your ice cream bowl. At the time, it feels great and self-indulgent, but afterwards you hate yourself and you end up in failing mode. Feel let down. Perhaps you feel as though you've done everything you were supposed to do in life. Maybe you went to university or you've worked for a company for a long time.
You got married and you brought up your kids the best way you could, but you still don't feel fully happy or satisfied. What is that about? Where's the love? Relationships disappoint you. There is a link, and I will explain this. Well, I'm here to tell you, dun, 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 none of these things are the real problem.
So what's the secret? Well, these are just symptoms of the real underlying issue. And the people that use yoga in the way that I will show you know this. It works, a little clue here, from the inside out via 4 critical transformations, or shifts as I call them. So making these transformations is what you have to do to be free from this burden that you've been carrying around for years. They will take you from where you are now to reach your highest potential. No more diets, no more binging or panic exercising or feeling lower than low. I'm going to walk you through all 4 of them in a moment.
Let me just show you though, here is what we achieve with the shifts, okay? On the left is the low state, and that's the state that we tend to operate in. And it's that roller coaster, actually, it's highs and lows, but the lows are very low. So we start feeling rubbish and we get to a point where we kick ourselves into action. Right, hate what I see in the mirror. I'm off on a strict diet and down the gym till I sort myself out. The motivation at the beginning is strong and we feel good. But we do start to feel a little uninspired and frustrated. And then we start wishing something else for ourselves. And we're also concerned that we're spending too much time on this. Other things are suffering. So then the kind of voice in our head says, give yourself a break. And then you get to a point of inner conflict because you inevitably break the diet or skip exercise and possibly also start binging. The self-shaming, self-loathing, self-hate, negativity all starts. Okay, so the flow state, this is the state that I teach. I use yoga and breath for stillness and a calm mind. We start in a positive place. Instead of kicking ourselves into action at the gym, we sit still and we breathe. Totally the opposite. We check in with ourselves and we feel connected. We are kind to ourselves. And then we move and we challenge our bodies with awareness of what our body needs. And that results in positive emotions. The combination of breath and movement results in what we call the yoga high. In the next 30 minutes, we are going to learn the 4 shifts that I have mentioned. And shift 1 is get out of your head. Okay. Shift 2, take care of yourself first. Shift 3, stop focusing on body goals. Shift 4, live your life now. So bear with me, these shifts move you from low state to flow state, and they don't work unless you follow all the steps. So shift 1, get out of your head. When we are obsessing about dieting and exercise, and we're also busy with everything else that's going on in our lives, we are up in our heads. We're rushing around from one thing to the next, trying to fit it all in. Exercise and dieting is one of the things that you have on your long list to get done. So we're up in our heads and our mind is in charge. That's the way the mind likes it. We probably stay up there all day. Then we zone out to relax, watching TV with a wine and a bag of crisps before conking out. When we stay up in our heads, we forget to actually feel. We actually push feelings down to deal with later. Practicing yoga brings us back down into the body. The first stage is to stop and breathe. And the second is to move with the breath, as I've said. The breath quiets the mind while the body is challenged and energized. No other exercise does this. It's a moving, breathing meditation. The body takes over from the mind and you start to really feel again. As I said, it took me at least a year to get this, to get it right. The crazy thing is, all the science today is telling us what yogis have been doing all this time. Breathing with purpose reduces anxiety and stress. And this yo-yo dieting is causing you a lot of stress. Don't underestimate it. It can be severe. You probably know. And it's one of those stresses that we hide from others as well. So it makes it even harder. As we start to connect with our breaths and ourselves, we can consciously strip back the outer layers and allow stuff we've been pushing down all day to surface. We need to listen to the body. We feel emotions through the body. It's trying to tell us something. Our emotions, or inner voice, or gut, intuition, whatever you like to call it, can be heard when we drop into the body. When we move in the direction your body is leading you in, you're going with a natural flow of you, rather than pushing your body to do something it doesn't want to do. Try my free yoga class that I will send you. It's got a yoga and a meditation. Notice how you feel afterwards. If nothing else, my aim is always to make you feel completely different to when you started. It's a real mood improver. Here's a quote from the Yoga Sutras, which are a collection of words of wisdom written 2,000 years ago. Yoga is the removal of the fluctuations of the mind. That is gold, so relevant still today. So shift 2, take care of yourself first. How often do you actually do that? Most women I know do the opposite and take care of everyone else first. Is that what you do? We're learning here that yoga is more than just exercise. It's taking care of yourself as you would a child or a friend. If you always put yourself last, you need to change that, or you will never get that woohoo feeling on the beach jumping around. When you tend to your emotional, physical, and mental needs in the same way you do everyone else's, when you start to make yourself a priority, you become less stressed, more fulfilled, and you get that feeling more often. And everyone else around you benefits as a result. You've heard the expression, you can't fill from an empty cup, yeah? And here is where the relationship stuff comes in. You cannot make others happy if you are unhappy or struggling. So the answer is to take your time first. Relationships will improve and you will notice changes in your life. There can be a lot of guilt around this at first and concern that others may think you are being selfish. But believe me, they get used to it. And you will too. And the changes in your appearance and your presence will be apparent to all. My partner got used to it. He's been good enough to let me have my time after some trial and error. And it's made a huge difference to us and our family. Shift 3, stop focusing on body goals. So I've talked about and touched on motivation. What has motivated you in the past to get the body you want? I mentioned earlier the opposite sex, events, weddings, that kind of thing, which keeps us in the gym for a bit. This is all working from the outside in. And actually, when you strip it right back, what is driving this? It's coming from a negative place. Fear even. Fear of not meeting a partner and being the last one on the shelf, or fear of not looking good on the beach. We end up in that negative low cycle. It's not uplifting for our soul to keep us happy and motivated, is it? But what if we tried working from the inside out? This is what I teach. Yoga asana. Asana is the moving part of yoga that you do on the mat, that you recognize. This breath and this movement is just one of 8 parts of yoga. The other 7 work with asana, focusing on the inside. And every move you make on the mat is transferable off the mat into your life. As you exercise, you get to grow and evolve as a human being. Start from the inside and the banging body will take care of itself. And you will stay motivated because you can't help wanting to learn more about yourself. I'm going to tell you a story now. This is quite relevant to what I'm saying. It's a journey that I had to achieve this posture, Pincha Mayurasana, forearm stand. I tried for years to get this posture, and it's basically balancing upside down on your forearms. I started learning with a goal-focused mentality because that was how I rolled. Life was all about goals, especially body goals. I just wanted to be able to do it. I was flinging my legs up and trying to catch a balance upside down. Needless to say, I fell down a lot, like we all do with diets. The pose forced me to slow down and look carefully at the process, and I had to detach emotionally from the end goal for a while, well, 2 years actually. It was tough for me because I wanted everything now, including my fitness, the body, And this was not going to happen anytime soon. It takes a long time to be able to understand a posture like this, technically and emotionally. I had to adopt a calm mind and a mindful approach, rather than focusing on the end goal, which causes the stress, doesn't it? I had to adopt a calm mind and a mindful approach, rather than focusing and going for the end goal, which causes the stress. I had to stop comparing myself to others around me in the room that were doing it perfectly. I had to do a lot of shoulder strength work and core work, an absolute ton of balance practice. So much pausing, reflecting and working things out, and videoing myself to see where I was at. When I finally achieved it, the success was not in the posture, but in what it had taught me to get here, the perseverance and the patience. And how much more fun is it learning a posture than doing repetitive weights in the gym? The toned shoulders and core were a byproduct of this very rewarding, exciting process. It taught me so much. This is what I mean. Focus on something else that is fun, not on the thing that's causing you the anxiety. Next shift, shift 4, be here now. Consider this. The present moment is the only place where life actually exists. I found that hard to get my head around at first, but the mind is constantly back and forth to the past and the future. It only manages to stay in the present moment for about 4 seconds on average before it wanders off again. And that blew my mind a bit. So, did you know that all stress and worry and negativity is in the past and the future? It took me a while to get my head around this too. Think about it. You're constantly looking back to how you used to be. Think of some of the things we've mentioned. You don't want to drop the routine. You looked better then. You're sad, nostalgic. It was so much better then. And fear is driving all of this, as we've mentioned. Even if it's a happy memory, we tend to make that negative too, because we're sad that it's gone. Looking forward to the future is also very often negative or with uncertainty, because it's looking at what you want to achieve and you're wishing and waiting. If only I could look like that, I will be happy when ... The mind loves to play the comparison game, especially when checking out on social media. This results in feeling inadequate. I am not enough. I love this quote from a Buddhist monk. It really says it all. It sums up what I'm saying beautifully. Just allow yourself to bloom. If we're always generating negative thoughts and fears through looking back and forwards, no wonder we're unhappy and dissatisfied with our bodies and putting ourselves under pressure to be thin. Yoga, through its challenging, immersive, all-consuming postures and sequences, makes sure you are totally in the now. And this stops negative thought processes in their tracks. It's giving your mind a vacation and allowing what's underneath to actually surface. What's underneath is the real you, emotions, gut, intuition, knowing your body's natural cues, i.e. when to stop and put the bowl of ice cream down. When the real you is allowed to be, you are in your element. All the limiting behaviors and beliefs in our brains, all the negative thoughts actually hold us back in life. Think about these phrases. I could never start my own business. I can't speak in public. I can't do yoga because I'm inflexible. Or the big one, I will always struggle with my weight. None of these things are actually true. They're just things we believe and tell ourselves because over time we have repeated them so much. The mind is working against us. Yoga, in the way I teach it, helps you dig deep and uncover what makes you feel passionate and alive. The real you emerges. That feeling is where it's at. So here's another quote from the sutras, the 2,000-year-old quotes. The cause of our suffering is the inability to distinguish between what is the truth, what perceives, and what appears to be the truth, what is perceived. So true and relevant, to this day. Do you think that you have negative thoughts or patterns that perhaps have been there for a long, long time? If you aren't sure, start with how you feel. Yoga will help you feel, see shift 1, feeling into the body. Thoughts create our feelings. If we feel low or unhappy, that means there are damaging thoughts in your head and they are working against you. And they aren't even true, as we've established. So that's completely crazy to me. And this is what I teach. So that's the end of my shifts. I hope they were helpful, but how do you put this into practice and make it work for you? Okay, so I mentioned a free coaching call at the beginning where I can help with this.
You can book a call right now if you're convinced enough that this is what you need. Or you can stay on for the next 5 minutes to find out a little bit more about what it takes to succeed. There'll be a chance to book a call again shortly.
In yoga, we practice a parigraha, which means non-attachment. Letting go is hard, holding on is harder. Letting go of anything that no longer serves us or that we've outgrown, a job, a relationship, some negative patterns around food and diet and exercise, old attitudes and beliefs that prevent us from moving forwards. I will never be able to stop dieting, for example. When we let go of these untruths, we make way for the new. We make space.
Let me share with you now the benefit of 20 years of my experience of tons of trial and error in these areas.
This is what you need to succeed. My shifts combined with working with people who can show you how to create outcomes for yourself. This is what I really wish I had had sooner. I mean, yoga alone is so powerful, but it's a slow burner. And you may want to spend 20 years learning, or you can decide to work with experts, the right mentors and guides who can take you through a step-by-step strategy, supporting you all the way, advising you on the right route for you, getting nutrition right so that you are supporting yourself and nourishing your body correctly so you can grow stronger and feel amazing.
Accountability and mindset coaching is also really important.
Alongside the yoga philosophy to help make the shifts happen. It's a bit like rocket-fueled yoga, if you like, and it will transform your life if you want it to, much faster than the time it took me. Yoga alone is powerful, don't get me wrong, and you may want to spend the next 20 years learning all of this. But if you like my idea of combining yoga with all the support, I want to speak with you. But first, let's recap.
Are you feeling exhausted or over the cycle you're in with food and exercise? Are you ready to let go, to work on those shifts and practice a parigraha and finally be free of this burden, the one you've been carrying around for years, so you can spend your time and energy and money on other more fulfilling things? You will have such an abundance of time. I hope I've helped you see that there are other ways. You don't have to be in the cycle. You can choose. The people that overcome their fears are the ones that know they have to look within themselves to make changes rather than looking outside of themselves. What other fears do you have? We've covered time. You will have more time because you'll be letting go of obsessions and all that time that you spend on them. Yoga releases anxiety too, and that's all going to stop and free up time to focus on healing. What else do you fear? You fear that you won't be able to do this, that good things don't happen to you? Please refer back to my slide about this. This is a limiting belief. It's not true. It's an untruth. Today, I promised you to deliver useful content to transform you from the inside out. I hope you see what I mean now. And I wanted to help you stop this obsession with diet and get off the diet roller coaster and stop panic exercising too. Because if you don't get off this roller coaster now, it's going to get worse and worse. And if you haven't already noticed that it's taking up too much of your time, you may start to very soon. These things do get worse, and what's an unhealthy approach now can turn into an obsession later and then into something much more serious. With me, it was bulimia. And that is something that is very difficult to get out of. I also wanted to help you find new motivation. and be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be. And I hope I've delivered on these things today. I also wanted to send you a free 40-minute yoga class, and it also incorporates a checking in meditation. Some of the techniques I've talked about in this presentation, it's all about working from the inside out. Yes, making exercise enjoyable and meaningful. Okay. I also did say there was be a 30-minute self-discovery coaching call, and I'm going to go into that now. So let's go over then who this is for. You know, at the beginning, I mentioned that if you stayed till the end, you could get a free 30-minute coaching session with me. But what I want to know from you first is, are you actually ready and willing to do this work? There's no point at all having a coaching call if you aren't motivated to change. What you're doing at the moment isn't working. Working from the inside is the right way, and we start here. And it's not easy. It's about changing limiting patterns that have been there for a lifetime, and they've been holding you back from being the person that you know you are. Are you ready to do this? You've got to realize that it's going to take time, resources, and commitment for real lasting change to happen. You've got to make a decision. You can keep doing the same thing you've always done, or you can take action now. If you don't take action now, you're going to continue in this negative cycle, dieting, binging, getting frustrated with exercise for the rest of your life. You have to be committed to investing in you. You are important, you matter. And if you don't put yourself first now, you never will. What price would you put on your freedom and happiness? Are you worth it? You need to have the integrity too. There's a fine line actually between pushing yourself really hard and talking to yourself badly, that inner mean girl, in a harsh way, and having high standards. They're two different things, and you have to recognize the difference and be prepared to move forwards. I only want to work with people who have these qualities, who will match all of this value that I provide with the right attitude, effort, and desire to change. So, if you really are prepared to make yourself and your needs a priority today, first of all, do the yoga class I send you. Just don't leave it in your inbox. Do the class, make yourself a priority, and book your free self-discovery coaching call with me. The button's below, or if you can't see a button, the link is here.
It's www.go.oncehub.com/yoga moves scheduling.
That's a link to my diary. On the call, we are going to examine your struggle, and we're going to look at what's currently holding you back from being your best self. We're going to discover what it is that's going to motivate you, not for a few weeks, but for the rest of your life. I'm going to show you how you can achieve that peaceful soul and banging body without the struggle, without the binge eating, without the endless dieting, without the ups and downs. The burden will be lifted, struggle over. Okay? Whatever your biggest challenges are, we are going to work out a path to overcome them. Book the call if you are ready to change. The next few pages are some testimonials from people that I've worked with. Take your time and have a read through them. If this all sounds like a journey that you would like to embark on, don't delay. Put yourself first and book your coaching call now. So I'm going to leave you now to have a look through those in your own time. I hope to speak to you soon.